Hi guys, for this video, we'll be discussing about research design, which is now actually part of our research methodology. So before that, let's talk about research methodology. This is a section that provides an explanation of the plan to attempt to find answers to the researcher's questions and or to test any hypothesis that were formulated. This is according to Yegidis et al. 2012. So basically, the main goal of a research methodology is to provide us with the necessary process, steps, procedures that we need to undertake in order to solve our research problem that we already set in our introduction, specifically in the statement of the problem. So this also involves steps on treatment of our data, analysis of our data, and at the same time, the questionnaire involved or the instrument that we need to use in order to answer our research problem. On the other hand, we talk about research design. This may be quantitative, which involves numeric data or numbers, qualitative, which involves quotation or common insights from our participants during interviews or focus group discussion, or the mixed method, where it combines both the quantitative and the qualitative methods. Each design may be specifically categorized, for example, comparative, correlational, case study, exploratory, descriptive, explanatory, pre-experimental, experimental, which may be single group or two group design, quasi-experimental, and so on and so forth. So first is experimental research design. Experimental research is a scientific approach to research where one or more independent variables are manipulated and applied to one or more dependent variables to measure their effect on the latter. Take note, we need to manipulate these variables to make it experimental. The effect of the independent variables on the dependent variables is usually observed and recorded over some time to aid researchers in drawing a reasonable conclusion regarding the relationship between these variable types. That is the goal of experimental research design. We manipulate variable and see what will be its effect on another variable. Quasi-experimental, on the other hand, talks about the design that do not randomly assign participants to treatment or control groups for comparison. So again, we talk about quasi-experimental. There is no random assignment of participants. While we do the opposite on an experimental research design, wherein on experimental research design, participants in both the treatment, the product users, and the control, which is the product non-users, groups are randomly assigned and see whether there is an effect on when we manipulate the variable or the other variable that is experimental. Quasi-experimental, we are the ones who chose the assignment or the groupings and then check whether there will be an effect if we manipulate the variable being studied or our concerned variable. That is quasi-experimental. Descriptive research design is a type of research design that aims to systematically obtain information to describe a phenomenon, situation, or population. More specifically, it helps answer the what, when, where, and how questions regarding the research problem rather than the what. So about descriptive research, the main goal is for us to describe. That's why in majority of our studies, we use descriptive research design because our goal is to determine, say, for example, the level of awareness of respondents in premarital sex or the level of difficulty one student has encountered during online classes. Those are descriptive research titles. The next one would be comparative. This simply put is the act of comparing two or more things with a view to discovering something about one or all of the things being compared. This technique you often utilizes multiple disciplines in one study. So it's about comparative design. This is where we answer an inferential question. Say, for example, is there a significant difference in the performance of students during the post-test and pre-test in chemistry. So we are comparing the pre-test and post-test, whether there is a significant difference between the scores of the students. That is comparative design. On the other hand, talk about correlational research design. This investigates relationships between variables without the researcher controlling or manipulating any of them. So talk about experimental, we manipulate one variable and see the effect on the other variable. That is experimental and also quasi-experimental. The only difference between the two is the groupings or the assignment of groups. But to talk about correlational research, we do not manipulate variables here, and we just see the relationship between the two naturally. So if there is a relationship, there will really be a relationship or there will be an effect between one variable to another even without manipulation. The correlation reflects the strength and or direction of the relationship between two or more variables. Sorry, a relationship between two or more variables. The direction of a correlation can be either positive or negative. How about positive? One variable increases, the other variable also increases. While on the other hand, how about negative? While the other variable is increasing, the other variable is decreasing. The last design for this particular example will be our case study. A case study is a research approach that is used to generate an in-depth, multifaceted understanding of a complex issue in its real-life context. So this talks about an issue and the possible phenomena that we can actually get from this particular case study or generalization or conclusion that we can actually get from this particular case study. It is an established research design that is used extensively in a wide variety of disciplines, particularly in the social sciences. So talk about case studies, this could also happen in nursing and at the same time in the medical field, where they study one case, like for example, a disease, and then research on it and draw conclusions out of it. So in order for you to have a background on how to use or to write the research design in your research proposal, especially in the methodology part, I gave you an example here. So the research title is Effectiveness of Science Laboratory Facilities to STEM Students. So this is how they write their research design. The study is quantitative in nature since the research question we seek to answer leads to numerical data. Quantitative methods emphasize objective measurements and the statistical, mathematical, and numerical analysis of data collected through polls, questionnaires, and surveys, or by manipulating pre-existing statistical data using computational techniques. This is according to Babi 2010. So in this case, they describe what is a quantitative research design and they put citation. Next, the researchers uses a descriptive correlation of quantitative method. Descriptive method describes the characteristics of population or phenomena that is being studied. This methodology focuses more on the what of the research subject rather than the why of the research subject. This is according to BAT 2019. In this particular instance, they describe what is a descriptive method. This is where the researchers describes why this phenomenon needs to be studied and prioritized for the sake of the children's education. Through Halton, Mifflin, Hackworth, 2016, correlation is a statistical measure of a relationship between two or more variables. Gives an indication of how one variable may predict another. So they also define here the correlational study. This study aims to identify the relationship between the science laboratory facility and academic performance of STEM students. As you can see here, there is a relationship. That's why in their particular research design, they mentioned about correlational descriptive research method. And as you can see, after they were able to look for citations to support their research design, they also connect this one to their current study. So that is how you make your research design. Look for citation that could actually define the design that you are going to use through a valid author, and then you relate that particular definition to your current study. That's it for research design, and I hope you learned something. Thank you so much. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.